Ambassador Krell stared at his datapad for the 5th time that morning. His 4 scaly hands gripped the device tightly as his eyes moved across the numbers again and again. Something had to be wrong. The sensors had to be broken. There was no other explanation. Vix, come here, he called to his assistant. Look at these readings and tell me what you see. Science Officer Vix scuttled across the room on his 6 insect-like legs. He was small compared to Krell, barely reaching his shoulder, but his compound eyes could process data faster than any computer. Vix looked at the screen and his antennae drooped immediately. Oh no, Vix whispered. This cannot be correct. That is what I thought, Krell said. Run the scan again. Check every sensor on the probe. Vix tapped at his own datapad with his thin fingers. His mandibles clicked nervously as he worked. After several minutes, he looked up at Krell with obvious fear in his many eyes. Sir, I have run the scan 17 times now. I checked every sensor twice. The results are the same every time. Vix's voice shook. Earth is a Class 13 Deathworld. Krell felt his 2 hearts beat faster. In all his years working for the Galactic Council, he had only heard of 12 Class 13 worlds. They were the most dangerous planets in the known universe. Worlds where gravity could crush bones, where the air itself was poison, where every creature was a killer. No thinking species had ever come from such a terrible place. But intelligent life cannot evolve on a Class 13 world, Krell said slowly. It is impossible. The environment is too hostile. Too deadly. I know, sir, Vix replied. But the humans are coming here. They will arrive in 1 hour. Krell looked out the large window of his office. Station Zenith 7 floated in the darkness of space, its lights twinkling like small stars. Somewhere out there, a ship full of humans was approaching. Humans from Earth. Humans from a world that should have killed them long before they learned to make fire. He pulled up images of Earth on the main screen. It looked beautiful from space. Blue oceans covered most of the surface. Green and brown land masses sat between them. White clouds drifted peacefully across the sky. It looked like paradise. But the data told a different story. The gravity was strong enough to flatten most species. The atmosphere was full of oxygen, a dangerous gas that caused metal to rust and living cells to break down. The temperature swung wildly from freezing cold to burning hot. Huge storms raged across the surface. The planet was home to millions of predator species, each one perfectly designed to kill. How do they survive? Krell wondered aloud. That is what we need to find out, Vix said. The Council is very worried. Some members think the humans might be dangerous. Before Krell could respond, a soft chime echoed through the office. The door slid open with a quiet hiss. A human female walked into the room. She was shorter than Krell but stood straight and confident. Her skin was a light brown color and her dark hair was pulled back from her face. She wore simple clothes in blue and white. She moved easily, as if the station's heavy gravity meant nothing to her. Ambassador Krell, she said with a smile. I am Emily Harrison. I represent Earth in these talks. It is nice to meet you. She held out her hand. Krell knew this was a human greeting. He carefully took her hand in one of his own and shook it gently. Her grip was firm and strong. Too strong. Krell realized she could probably break Vix's shell with her bare hands. Welcome to Station Zenith 7, Ambassador Harrison, Krell said politely. I hope your journey was comfortable. Please, call me Emily, she said. The trip was fine, thank you. A bit long, but nothing too bad. I am just getting over a cold, so I am a little tired. Krell and Vix exchanged worried looks. A cold? The humans traveled between stars while sick? I am sorry to hear you are ill, Krell said carefully. Should we reschedule this meeting? Do you need medical attention? Emily laughed. It was a pleasant sound, but it made Krell nervous. Oh, no, I am fine. It is just a small cold. Nothing serious. Everyone gets them. I will be better in a few days. Before Krell could ask more questions, loud alarms suddenly filled the air. Red lights flashed throughout the office. The station's computer voice spoke in a calm but urgent tone. Warning. Biohazard detected in Diplomatic Office 7. Subject contains toxic compounds and dangerous microorganisms. Cellular structure does not match any known safe life forms. Beginning quarantine procedures immediately. Metal panels slammed down over the windows and doors. The room was sealed. Emily looked around in confusion. What is happening? She asked. Is there a problem? Krell stared at her in growing horror. The station's medical scanner had finished examining Emily. The computer had identified a biohazard. The biohazard was Emily herself. The human was the danger. And she had no idea. Krell sat in his observation room 3 days later, watching video footage from Earth. His hands shook as he held a cup of warm liquid. Next to him, Vix made worried clicking sounds with his mandibles. "Show me the next video," Krell said quietly. The screen changed to show a human city on a bright sunny day. At the bottom of the screen, numbers glowed in red. Temperature, 35 degrees Celsius. Krell felt sick just looking at those numbers. That heat would kill him in less than 2 hours. His scales would dry out and his blood would boil in his veins. But the humans walked through it like nothing was wrong. They wore thin clothes and moved casually down the streets. Some even smiled and laughed. "Look at this one," Vic said, pointing at the screen with one thin leg. A large group of humans ran down a road. Hundreds of them. They were running for fun, the data said. A marathon race. The humans would run for 42 kilometers in that deadly heat. The camera focused on one human female. Her name appeared at the bottom, Rachel Thompson. Water poured from her skin. Her face was red and her breathing was heavy, but she kept running. She looked happy. "They leak water from their bodies," Krell said. "To cool down. They sweat out their precious fluids and just keep going." "That is not the worst thing I found," Vix replied nervously. He changed the video. A human male sat at a table in a restaurant. His name was Thomas Wright. On his plate sat several small red vegetables. They looked innocent enough. Thomas picked one up and bit into it. Within seconds, his face turned bright red. Water leaked from his eyes and nose. His mouth opened and he breathed rapidly. "What is he eating?" Krell asked, leaning forward. "It is called a pepper," Vix explained. "It contains a chemical called capsaicin. We use capsaicin as a weapon, sir. 4 to 7 different species use it for crowd control and self-defense. It causes terrible pain when it touches living tissue. And he is eating it." Krell could not believe what he was seeing. "Yes, sir. For pleasure. For fun. Humans enjoy the pain it causes. This particular pepper measures 800,000 on their Scoville scale. That is enough to blind most species permanently." Thomas in the video was now drinking water and laughing. He was actually laughing while eating a weapon. "Show me more," Krell said, though part of him did not want to see. The next video showed human children playing at a beach. They ran into the ocean and splashed in the waves. The water analysis appeared on screen. Salt concentration, 35 parts per thousand. That much salt would destroy the cells of almost every species Krell knew. The children's skin should be burning. They should be dying. But they were playing. Having fun. Another video showed a young human male named Daniel. He was sitting in a medical office. The doctor showed him pictures of his leg bones. One bone had been broken completely in half just 8 weeks earlier. But now it had grown back together. The bone had healed itself. Daniel was walking normally again. 8 weeks, Vic said softly. "If I broke a limb, I would never walk properly again. The best our medicine could do would be to give me a metal replacement. But humans just heal. Their bodies fix themselves." Krell felt dizzy. Everything he was seeing went against all the rules of biology he had learned. It was impossible. All of it. "There is one more thing you need to see," Vic said. His voice was very quiet now. "This is the most frightening one." The screen showed a human news broadcast. The reporter stood outside a hospital and spoke seriously to the camera. Words appeared at the bottom of the screen: seasonal flu outbreak, 0.1% fatality rate. 0.1%, Krell read aloud. "That is their fatality rate." "Yes, sir. I checked the virus myself. The pathogen they call flu would kill 94% of our people. Among the Trelaxians, it would kill 98%. But humans fight it off naturally. Most do not even go to a doctor. They just rest at home for a few days and recover. They fight off bioweapons," Krell said slowly. "Every day. And they think it is normal." "There is more," Vix continued. "I found records of other human diseases. Something called chicken pox that almost every human child gets. Common cold that spreads constantly. Food poisoning from bacteria in their meals. They are always fighting infections, always battling microscopic invaders. Their immune systems are like armies that never stop fighting." Krell put his head in his hands. Emily said she had a cold. She traveled across space while her body was fighting off a disease that would kill most of us. And she called it nothing serious. "What do we tell the council?" Vix asked. Krell looked at the frozen image of Emily on another screen. She was smiling and waving at the camera. She looked so friendly and harmless. But now he knew the truth. She was a survivor from a world of nightmares. A world that had tried to kill her species every single day. And instead of dying, humans had learned to thrive. We tell them the truth, Krell said. Humans are the most dangerous species we have ever encountered. And they have no idea. Dr. Nexum stood before the Galactic Council chamber, his tentacles wrapped nervously around his data tablet. 200 species filled the massive room, all waiting to hear about the humans. The air was thick with fear and curiosity. Thank you for coming, Nexum began. His voice shook slightly. What I am about to tell you will change everything we know about life in the universe. The giant screen behind him lit up, showing an image of human cells under a microscope. The cells glowed with strange colors, pulsing with energy that looked almost aggressive. Let me start with the air they breathe, Nexum said. Earth's atmosphere is 21% oxygen. Oxygen, honored council members. A gas so reactive and dangerous that we use it in tiny amounts for medical emergencies only. Most of us can tolerate 3 to 5% oxygen at most. Humans breathe 21% with every breath. Shocked whispers filled the chamber. A delegate from the water world of Aquian stood up, her gills fluttering in distress. That would burn our lungs in minutes, she said. How can they survive? They do more than survive, Nexum replied. They need it. Without that much oxygen, they become weak and confused. Their bodies have adapted to use this poison as fuel. He changed the image on the screen. It now showed Earth from space, with a timeline running along the bottom. 2.4 billion years ago, something terrible happened on Earth. Tiny organisms began making oxygen as waste. The gas built up in the atmosphere. It killed almost everything alive. We call it the Great Oxygenation Event. It was the biggest mass extinction in Earth's history. The timeline moved forward. But some life survived. It changed. It evolved. The human ancestors learned to breathe the poison. They turned a deadly gas into their greatest advantage. While other planets have safe, gentle atmospheres, humans live in a world of corrosive air. And they think it is normal. Nexum's tentacles trembled as he pulled up the next image. It showed the inside of a human stomach and intestines. Now we come to what disturbs me most, he said quietly. This is a human digestive system. Inside every human body, there are trillions of living organisms. Bacteria, viruses, fungi. Creatures that would make us very sick if they touched us. But humans live with them. They need them. Without these microorganisms, humans cannot digest food properly. They cannot stay healthy. A reptilian delegate from Sorix Prime hissed in horror. They are walking disease carriers? Yes and no, Nexum answered. The organisms inside them are mostly harmless to humans. But to us, many would be deadly. A human handshake could transfer bacteria that might kill us. Their breath carries microorganisms. Every surface they touch becomes covered in their microscopic companions. Council member Thrix, a being made of transparent gel, spoke up. Are you saying humans are colonies? That they are not truly individual organisms? In a way, yes, Nexum confirmed. But there is more. Much more. He showed a video of white blood cells attacking a virus inside a human body. The cells moved like soldiers, surrounding and destroying the invader. Human immune systems are military forces. Every moment of every day, dangerous organisms try to enter human bodies. Bacteria from the air. Viruses from other humans. Parasites from food and water. The human body fights them all constantly. Most humans get infected by harmful microorganisms several times every single day. And they survive, someone asked from the back of the chamber. They do better than survive, Nexum said. Their bodies remember every infection. Every virus. Every bacteria. The human immune system learns and gets stronger. They call it immunity. If the same disease attacks twice, the body destroys it faster. Some human diseases cannot hurt them twice because their bodies remember how to fight. He pulled up images of human injuries healing. A cut sealing itself. A broken bone growing back together. Burned skin regenerating. They repair themselves. Constantly. Automatically. Humans shed 40 million skin cells every single day. They just grow more. Break a bone and it heals in weeks. Cut the skin and it closes and leaves barely a scar. Their bodies are always rebuilding, always fighting, always healing. Krell stood up from his seat. I have spoken with Ambassador Emily Harrison several times now. I asked her about all of this. Do you know what she said? The chamber fell silent. She said, and these are her exact words, everyone gets sick sometimes. Everyone gets hurt. That is just part of life. You heal and move on. She did not understand why I was asking. To her, living in constant battle with disease and injury is completely normal. Nexim nodded sadly. That is what frightens me most. Humans evolved in such a hostile environment that they do not recognize how exceptional they are. They think everyone lives this way. They think breathing poison is normal. They think housing billions of microorganisms is normal. They think fighting off deadly infections every week is normal. He turned off the screen and faced the council directly. Humans are not just tough. They are not just lucky. They are the result of 4 billion years of the universe trying to kill their ancestors and failing every single time. Earth threw everything at them. Asteroids. Ice ages. Volcanoes. Plagues. Mass extinctions. And humans are still there. Still thriving. Still thinking they are nothing special. The chamber erupted in worried conversation. Some delegates called for quarantine. Others suggested studying humans from a safe distance. A few even suggested humanity might be too dangerous to allow into the galactic community. But Krell stood and raised his hand for silence. We have a bigger problem, he announced. A message just arrived from our colony world Kepler 442b. The Vrexian swarm has attacked. Fear swept through the chamber. The Vrexians were unstoppable. They had destroyed 12 civilizations. We must evacuate immediately, someone shouted. Or, Krell said slowly, we could ask the humans for help. Emily sat across from Ambassador Krell in his private office. She could see he was nervous. His 4 hands kept moving, fidgeting with things on his desk. His reptilian eyes would not meet hers directly. Emily, I need to show you something, Krell said finally. I want you to understand why the Council is worried about your species. He turned on a screen built into his desk. A video began to play. Emily recognized it immediately. It was old footage from Earth, taken somewhere in Africa. The image quality was grainy but clear enough to see what was happening. 2 human hunters were chasing an antelope across the savannah. The animal was much faster than the humans. It could run at incredible speeds, leaving the humans far behind. But the humans did not stop. They jogged at a steady pace, following the animal's tracks. This is from your historical records, Krell explained. From thousands of years ago, before your people had modern tools. Emily watched as the video showed hours passing. The sun moved across the sky. The antelope would sprint away, then stop to rest in the shade. It would pant heavily, trying to cool down. But every time it stopped, the humans appeared on the horizon. Still jogging. Never stopping. Never resting. After several hours, the antelope tried to run again. But it was too tired. Too hot. Its legs shook with exhaustion. Finally, it collapsed. The humans walked up to it calmly and ended its suffering with simple spears. You hunted by never giving up, Krell said softly. Your ancestors would chase animals until the animals died of exhaustion. No other species in the galaxy hunts this way. Do you know why? Emily shook her head, not sure where this was going. Because no other species can, Krell continued. You have a cooling system that lets you run in heat that would kill your prey. You can jog for hours without stopping. You heal quickly if you get hurt. And most importantly, you never give up. Your mind simply will not let you quit. He pulled up more images. Maps of Earth showing human settlements in every environment imaginable. Your species spread across your entire planet. You live in deserts where the temperature reaches 50 degrees during the day and drops below freezing at night. You live in frozen lands where it stays 40 degrees below zero for months. You climbed mountains where the air has half the oxygen you need. You moved into jungles filled with venomous snakes and insects. You built homes in places that should have killed you. Emily looked at the maps. She had never thought about it that way before. People live where they want to live. We adapt. We find solutions. Exactly, Krell said, pointing at her. You adapt. That is what makes you terrifying. Every other species finds a good environment and stays there. Humans look at an impossible place and say I can make this work. You see a problem and you fix it. You see a challenge and you conquer it. He showed her more files. Records of human history. Wars and disasters. Images of cities destroyed by earthquakes that were rebuilt even stronger. Stories of plagues that killed millions, but humanity survived and grew. Pictures of humans creating art and music even during terrible times. You make jokes when things are bad, Krell said, wonder in his voice. You create beauty during wars. You help each other during disasters. You bond together when things get hard. Your psychological strength is as frightening as your physical strength. Nothing breaks you. Nothing stops you. We are just doing what anyone would do, Emily protested. No, Krell said firmly. You are doing what only humans can do. And you do not even realize how special that is. A sudden alarm interrupted their conversation. The door burst open and Vix rushed in, his legs moving frantically. Urgent message from Kepler 442b, Vix said breathlessly. The colony is under attack. It is the Vrexian swarm. Krell's face went pale. Emily noticed his hands started shaking. What is the Vrexian swarm? She asked. Death, Krell said simply. They are a species that cannot be stopped. They breed faster than we can kill them. They adapt to any weapon we use. They thrive in toxic environments. They never retreat. Never surrender. They have destroyed 12 civilizations completely. There is nothing left of those species now. Not even ruins. How long does the colony have? Emily asked. Days, maybe, Vic said. We are preparing evacuation ships now. Emily stood up and straightened her jacket. Or you could let Earth help. We can have military forces there in less than a week. Krell stared at her. Emily, you do not understand. The Vrexians are unstoppable. Every species that has fought them has lost. Every single one. Have they ever fought humans before? Emily asked calmly. Well, no, but... Then they have never fought a species from a Class 13 Deathworld, Emily interrupted. They have never fought persistence predators. They have never fought a species that refuses to give up. She pulled out her communication device and began typing a message to Earth. What are you doing? Krell asked. Calling in the Marines, Emily replied with a small smile. The Vrexians think they are unstoppable? Let us see how they handle meeting humans. We evolved on a planet that spent 4 billion years trying to kill us. Some bugs with sharp teeth do not scare us. Krell looked at Vix. The small insect being looked back at his boss. They both felt the same strange emotion. It was not quite hope. Not quite fear. It was something new. They were about to watch what happened when an unstoppable force met a species that did not know how to stop. Captain James Mitchell stepped off the transport ship and looked around the surface of Kepler 442b. Rain fell from the dark sky, but it was not normal rain. This rain was acidic enough to melt through most metals. The air was thick with toxic gases. The gravity was 1.5 times what Earth had. Most species would die here in minutes. James took a deep breath through his helmet and smiled. Well, this is lovely, he said into his radio. Reminds me of that camping trip in Scotland. Remember that, Rebecca? Lieutenant Rebecca Foster laughed as she checked her weapon. At least it is not as cold as Scotland. And the rain here only melts metal. Scottish rain gets into your bones. The other Marines chuckled as they prepared for battle. There were 200 humans on the surface now, with more arriving every hour. Above them, in orbit, the Galactic Council watched in disbelief. They are joking, Vic said, his voice filled with confusion. The environment down there would kill me in 3 minutes. They are making jokes. Krell watched the video feed carefully. The humans moved easily in the heavy gravity. They set up defensive positions like they had done this 1,000 times before. They worked together smoothly, efficiently. They looked almost bored. This is a mistake, Council Member Thrick said. We should evacuate them before the Vrexians arrive. The humans will be slaughtered. Give them a chance, Krell replied. But even he was not sure if he believed his own words. On the surface, James studied the tactical map. The Vrexians were coming from the north, a massive swarm of creatures that looked like a mix of insects and nightmares. They had sharp claws, armored shells, and venom that could kill most species with a single drop. They moved fast and attacked without fear. Here they come, Rebecca said calmly. The ground began to shake. Then they appeared on the horizon. Thousands of them. Maybe tens of thousands. They moved like a wave of death, covering the ground completely. Their screams filled the air, a sound designed to cause fear in their enemies. The Marines opened fire. Bullets and energy weapons cut into the swarm. Hundreds of Vrexians fell. But more kept coming. Always more. Fall back to position 2, James ordered. The Marines retreated in organized groups. Some fired while others moved. They gave ground slowly, making the Vrexians chase them. The swarm followed eagerly, thinking the humans were running in fear. But James was not running away. He was leading them into a trap. The Vrexians chased the Marines into a narrow canyon. The acid rain had made the rock walls weak over many years. As the swarm poured into the canyon, James gave the signal. Explosives detonated along both walls. Thousands of tons of rock fell down onto the Vrexians below. The screaming stopped suddenly as tons of stone buried them. "That is one," Rebecca said, reloading her weapon. "How many more do you think there are?" "Plenty," James replied. "Let us go find them." The battle continued for 3 days. The Vrexians had never faced an enemy like this before. Usually, species broke when they saw the size of the swarm. Usually, they ran in terror. Usually, they gave up. Humans did not give up. On the second day, a Vrexian warrior managed to get close to James. Its claws ripped through his armor and cut deep into his chest. Blood poured from the wound. His medical monitor screamed warnings. By all rights, James should have fallen down and died. Instead, his body released adrenaline. His heart beat faster. His muscles grew stronger. The pain became distant, pushed away by his body's natural combat drugs. James raised his weapon and shot the Vrexian at point-blank range. Then he kept fighting. "The human is wounded," Krell said, watching from orbit. "Why is he not falling?" "His body is producing emergency chemicals," Dr. Nexum explained, studying the readings. "Adrenaline. Endorphins. His body is giving him the strength to keep fighting even with serious injuries. It is treating the battle damage as a reason to fight harder, not a reason to stop." The Vrexians began to realize something was wrong. Their usual tactics were not working. The humans kept adapting. Every trap the Vrexians tried, the humans avoided. Every new attack pattern, the humans countered. And most disturbing of all, the humans never stopped. They fought through injuries. They fought through exhaustion. They fought with a determination that the Vrexians had never encountered. On the 4th day, something impossible happened. The Vrexians retreated. For the first time in their entire history, they turned around and fled. They had never run before. Never. But they ran from the humans. In the council chamber, complete silence filled the room. "They ran away," Thrix whispered. "The Vrexians ran away." 3 weeks later, Emily stood before the council again. This time, there was no fear in their eyes. There was respect. And maybe a little bit of awe. "You asked why we think we can help," Emily said. "This is why. You see challenges. We see Tuesday. You evolved in comfortable places. We evolved where everything tried to kill us. You learned to survive in safety. We learned to thrive in hell." The council voted. The result was unanimous. Humanity was accepted as a full member of the galactic community. Later, as Emily prepared to leave, Krell walked with her to her ship. "Your planet still frightens me," he admitted. "But I am very glad you are our friends and not our enemies." Emily smiled. "Ambassador Krell, I think we are going to do great things together." Back on Earth, children played in parks under a sun that could give them cancer. They swam in oceans that could drown them. They climbed trees they could fall from. They lived on a planet that had tried to kill their ancestors for millions of years. And they called it home. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. When you grow up in hell, nothing else seems that scary. When you are born fighting, you never learn how to quit. And when your whole history is about surviving the impossible, you stop believing in the word impossible.